going to help me in my office. So next, you take his phone next time in case you want him. Somebody knows his photogenics. You know, the window is there, I'm here, I'm looking nice. The last time I did a press conference in Santon, I was by the window and people couldn't see my face. But anyway, they could hear my voice and what I was saying, so they appreciated it better than him. I've called you, especially for an issue which concerns the elections. And a statement which is said to have been attributed to me to say the army is one which runs the elections for ZANU-PF. It's a lie. I think everybody was at the press conference. I mean at the ZANU-PF Congress. I said, in fact, let me put it, I said there was a team which helped to undo the dynastic tendencies of Mugabe, of geriatric Mugabe and his late wife. That's what I said. And then I said, I promised to the president, the new president, that we were going to deliver an electoral victory to me. Then I said, but that team specifically excludes the army, because the army played a role in it. Especially because the army is a professional army, it does not get involved in election campaigns. That's what exactly I said. But I don't know why Newsday, for its own purposes, decided to twist the matter and make go all over the world that Mchangwa says that the army is there to campaign for ZANU-PF. That's not true. And I think decent, anybody can run that video, and all of you were there. I never said that. So, you know, I have nothing against journalists quoting politicians, even if they miscue. But it's another thing to lie, to make a statement falsely about a politician. And all of you know that I'm generally very careful about what I say. So that's the main thing I wanted to dismiss. That I ever said the army is there to campaign for ZANU-PF. The army is a professional, non-partisan. And you may recall, actually, when we were planning the big demonstration, we refused to make the demo be identified either as a ZANU-PF or a party project. We said everyone should come without regarding. That's what we said. And we still are reaching out to the broad spectrum of Zimbabweans, regardless of political creed, color, religion, race, gender, or any other affiliation or classification. That's the position of War Veterans as a chairman, and that is the position which I hold today, even still in my government capacity. So I just want to put it to report straight. The Newsday, either they misheard or they are lying. And it would be decent for the Newsday to own up to say, to not to attribute something which I never said. Then associated with it, I am chairman of the War Veterans Association. I believe that we fought for all Zimbabweans to be equal before the law. And when they are equal before the law, it means also opportunities available to them must be equal without fear or favor. To make an issue about 2 or 3 generals who may be cabinet ministers strictly under the constitutional provisions of Zimbabwe, it's not fair. And also because they are ex-army or they've been seconded from the army. You literally are saying that their political rights should be circumscribed because they used to wear uniform. Now that's introducing an element of discrimination which does not exist in the Zimbabwean constitution. It would be unfair for General S.B. Moi to be denied the opportunity to serve the government of Zimbabwe simply because he used to wear a uniform. There is no constitutional provision which stops him from that. It would be unfair to say Comrade Dependence should not be allowed to become a Minister of Agriculture because he used to wear a uniform. That's not right. That's not the Zimbabwe we want. There are 5 people who are allowed by the president, and whom the president is allowed. And they are all, even though they were not elected, they are all duly selected according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. They have as much right as any of you to be in political office. Why do we want them to deny them political office simply because they have a background of being military? That's not right. Do we want a Zimbabwe which is like that, where somebody is stigmatized because of his background? If the president had forced the constitution to accommodate generals outside of its current provisions, then that would be something else. Then the generals are massing their way into power. But no, it's according to the Constitution. Definitely, I repeat, does the inclusion of General Flynn in the cabinet of Trump make it a military junta? The chief of staff of President Trump, General Kerry, is an expendable 5-star general. Does it make the American government a junta? It doesn't. Let's be fair to the other Zimbabweans. You see, the moment you now make us, we made very tough decisions as young men, younger than most of you. And most of us were between 15 and 20 years. That's when we made the decision to go to war. Which means we were politically conscious. We were much more advanced than other young men of that generation. And out of that war, probably 3 out of 5 to 4 out of 5 never came back alive. Because we wanted a free Zimbabwe. Now, as we come back, we save our government in the various ways which we want, or which we feel we should save, including in the army. It does not mean that we cease our to be political animals like anybody else. More so when we were young people, we decided to become political animals. Now I remove my uniform, I'm trying to save my government. Then you say, because he's a military general, he shouldn't. That's not right. It's not really fair to them. We all want Zimbabweans where, if Longwane becomes a cabinet minister when he was a journalist, is it an issue? And people are not allowed to move from one profession to the other. I am appealing to sense of fairness to the reporting world. And don't try the army. It's putting the army on trial because 2 or 3 people. Because it seems to be an effort to stigmatize the army. Why do you want to stigmatize your army? Not everybody in the army is a cabinet minister. So why are you making an issue with the army having 2 or 3 of their people become cabinet ministers? Then you say military, the military this, the military that. No, there's no reason to hate our army. More so, when the people who are commenting about the army, they were cheerleading a made woman and a doting geriatric husband in some of the most outrageous political performance, shenanigans which this country has ever seen. Those commentators, they never convinced the geriatric and the made woman and the G4 to leave office. Your army comes to the rescue to say, look, these guys have usurped the power at State House. This is not the Zimbabwe we need. The Constitution says this. They restore, everybody is happy now. Everybody is happy that, because if we had tried to do it probably at civilian level, this is a matter for law enforcement agencies. And the army intervened because, the police had failed to do its duty. And because the CIO had failed to do their duty. And the army was forced to, in an invidious position where they would have been an uprising by the people, which then forces the army to intervene in a deteriorating law and order situation. And they do it so judiciously, so clinically, that nobody loses a life. And today, you just hear the announcement, they are all going back to their barracks. Their job is done. The police are being big. Why are we trying to make an issue with our army? I'm appealing to sense of fair play, to sense of fairness, to sense of patriotism to the journalist community. Please give our army guys in uniform their job. It's not right to single out your army and then to single it out because 1 or 2 generals have been given a job under the constitutional provision of Zimbabwe by the president. Then you start saying the army of Zimbabwe has become militaristic. Generals are like this, are like that. Let's just thank them. Rusero, Masunugure, BT, and all this gamut of people who are shouting against the army. They were here when Grace was running amok. And maybe we should have seen their courage to even go and defend it. They never did. So, let's not be sulky or jealous about people who do a good thing. Let's just be thankful to the army that it did it in a judicious, clinical, peaceful, and way which even the world is ordered, and it has restored the constitution, your constitutional rights. Everybody in Zimbabwe is happy with their army. Why are we making an issue about them? They have not aspired to become rulers of Zimbabwe. In African countries, when generals do what they do, they don't leave State House. Mugabe resigned on his own. He resigned on his own when he has seen the realities of the people demonstrating their thousands. Because the army was on the same page with the people. When they did that, they changed the mood. Then the people demonstrated to say, Mugabe, we don't want you to vindicate what the army had done. To say we didn't intervene because we wanted power. And now they are withdrawn back to their barracks. You will not be seeing them again in the role which they were doing, because the thing has been done and finished. So let's give the army their due. Let's not pillory them. And then let's not use 2 or 3 of their members who are just lucky that in their retirement age, you know, we're all getting grey hair after so many years of service to Zimbabwe. What's wrong with the SB Mono, or for that matter, Terence Shiri becoming a serving minister of the government of Zimbabwe, with all that experience, just like Kerry did, just like Oliver Novi did under Reagan. There are so many generals in America, been so many. Why are we making our own issue? The ANC has got all the generals, some of the generals who are in the army, from Umkondo Westies. What's wrong with that? So that's that's the main reason why I call for it. One, to say that the Newsday lied. I never said that. And anybody can read, and all of you were at that conference. I never said that. I actually said the army is professional, they don't get in elections. Their role was in the previous team, which removed the dynasty, in the making of Mugabe. That's all I say. So to lie about what I said is not fair. And then to have it repeated by the news, then we say Mugabe Changwa is part of the militaristic tradition, which is becoming a symptom of the new Zimbabwean political order. That's a very false accusation. It's misplaced. It has no basis, in fact, or for that matter, in fiction. Thank you. Yeah?
Yes, you can ask some questions.
John Cassim, SABC. Maybe Comrade Nchangwa, fears by Zimbabweans are based on what happened in the past.
Yeah.
That when the military was found to be taking part in the campaign for ZANU-PF, there were deaths, injuries, and so forth. So you might have been misquoted. Maybe that's the reason why people are now becoming afraid that if FCR is going to be involved in the campaigning, then what's there for Zimbabwe, considering that just for 2 days they've just tested what we call maybe liberty or freedom.
Yeah, but look, first, we are talking about now, we are not talking about the past. You understand? 2, their intervention this time met with the approval of the population. That's why for the first time, 2 million Zimbabweans in Harare alone, I'm not talking of the other cities, all turned up in jubilation at what the military had done. Why can't you see the reality of a happy population? Then you as a journalist, you create your own fiction in your head. The reality was that the population was happy. Why are you trying to say the population is wrong, you are the right one? You understand? You think they also don't have a history, those people, in their head? Why did they turn up 2 million to support what the military had done if they didn't issue their past? It means they've gone through over their past. Otherwise they wouldn't have turned up. They would have said, oh, we're in a worse scenario. So let's deal with the realities. Let's not, now you are now giving me your hallucinatory fears as a journalist. You are not dealing with the reality of the people who were happy, demonstrating that the military done a good job. And the SADC region had said that the military will understand what they did. And the whole world, that's why there was no issue at the United Nations, there was no issue with the African Union. The whole world is happy about that. So why do you want as journalists now to become the main bearer of opinion? A contrarian opinion for that matter. When the whole world and the whole population is not sharing that opinion. Why? What gives you that sanctimonious aura that what I think in my head is the only right thing? It's not right. And that's, and then 2, we have reconciled the issues which may have made the military and the opposition be at loggerheads. And I was personally involved in that. I think people will remember 2 years ago or 18 months ago, General Chumenda saluted the MDC MPs in Parliament. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. That was a sign. that bygones are bygones. If you in the past you thought we were enemies and we thought we were enemies, we found each other as Zimbabweans. We want to build on things which are positive. That was a very good sign. Why are we trying to build up another feud when there was even symbolic acknowledgement that, and you can ask Morgan Tsvangirai, you can ask the MDC, they have no issues with the Zimbabwe military, and the Zimbabwe military has no issues with the what? With the MDC. This election will be the fairest. The MDC will win or lose on its own capabilities. ZANU-PF will win or lose on its own popularity. People should just go in campaign. The president has issued a statement to say this will be the fairest election in Zimbabwe's history. He is determined to pass the litmus test that Zimbabwe can deliver, and I know what he's trying to do with the BVR. I know what he's trying to do with everything to do with the atmosphere of elections. You would be astounded. The president is a man of his word. He's a lawyer too. What he says, he will do. So why try to preempt him by saying the military campaign? He has offered, and he's going. I know that he's going to engage the embassies. He's going to engage the MDC and the opposition parties. He's going to engage civic organizations. He will even go as far as periodic briefings by the companies running the technical aspects of the elections to assure the electorate that the election will be fair. You shall be surprised by the length and depth and width of which this president will go to make sure that Zimbabwe is for a fair election. Watch this space. So please don't preempt it, because we shall be embarrassed.
Okay, my name is Jeff Moyo. You have rightly said the army get professional, and from the New York Times, you said the army want to involve itself in the elections.
Yes.
If the opposition wins an election, shall we see the army really respecting an opposition win?
The army will respect the choice of the people of Zimbabwe. Period. The army, and it will respect. They will remain in their barracks and respect. The last time the army was said to be against the MDC. Now you are saying the army is against Mugabe. I mean, you can see, there's something about the integrity of the state, and that's what makes because you don't want to go to Somalia as a country, because if you don't go to Somalia, then all of you would not even be here. We will not have a disorderly country. So it's a very professional army, and it will respect the will of the Zimbabwe people. And they are withdrawing to their barracks. Yesterday we heard it for the top general saying we are withdrawing to our barracks, our job is done. The people of Zimbabwe have assumed their rightful role, because there was a menace posed by a coup d'etat which had happened sexually or otherwise at State House, or by marriage certificate. This is what was at issue. And that's what was at issue. Where executive power, because an aging old man was losing his faculties, and a tendentious wife with a very low IQ was in charge of the country, making outrageous. And she was a national and a regional and an international embarrassment. That woman. And the army comes in to say, no, we can't allow this, because this is not the Zimbabwe we like. Definitely Grace Mugabe was not the epitome, the representation of the Zimbabwe we like. So why the army comes to the rescue? Because CIO has not done its job for obvious reasons. Maybe the leadership of CIO was compromised. The police did not do its job for obvious reasons. The police commissioner has just resigned. They are the ones who normally should have taken care of that problem, not the army. But the army wanted to watch it at Congo. Then he later had his people called to deal with a situation of disorder in the country. No. The critics, the political pundits, the experts who are commenting on the army, they were the ones who were akimbo when Grace was running Amo. Now they want to charge the army. Perhaps we should judge them, what they write about what Grace was doing. They were cheerleading a male woman as a future leader of the country. Now we are disappointed that she has been she has been thwarted. Now you castigate the army for thwarting me. Ah, that's not right. That's sulkiness.
Yeah.
Milius Tone, Reuters. I'm just trying to understand the fact that the army chiefs declared, and the way of record is saying that they will never salute somebody, a leader who hasn't got a liberation war history.
Mm-hmm.
Now, given that background, they are on record as having said that hasn't been rescinded verbally.
No, let's be very accurate. They said it's a straight jacket. We have to have the credentials. Because each country has got its history. They never said somebody with a history. No. That's
somebody without a history.
Yeah, they said we want somebody with the credential who believes.
So the army is dictating.
No, it's not dictating
who can be and who can't be.
Every army in the world serves a certain political order. You go to America today, the American army, it is anti-monarchy. It fought against George III, led by George Washington. You go and tell the American army that you are going to restore the British monarchy in America. The American army will refuse because they say we're a revolutionary army. You understand? You understand? Every army serves a certain political order, certain political ethos. And the American army is democratic. It will serve the American democracy. You go into the American army, you tell that now we put a fascist leader like Hitler. The American army will object because they say this is not according to the American Constitution. You go to the American army today, you say you want to put a communist leader in America. The American army will say, no, that's not what the American Constitution stands for. You understand? They talked about the ethos to be respected, not the individuals. Because there's no way genetically and biologically you will always have people who fought in the war being leaders of this country. Because their lifespan is at most between 60 and 80 years. Mugabe was the one who has stretched a little bit long. So you are telling me that the army is saying that once their epoch goes, the Zimbabwe has no leaders. No. They just said, let's respect the history of this country. And everybody now, we wrote a constitution. COPAC, the MDs was involved, the whole Zimbabwean population was involved. I am happy that I'm chairman of the war veterans. That constitution gives pride of place to the war veterans, not to political parties. The MDC is not in the constitution. ZANU-PF is not in the constitution. The war veterans are in the constitution because the people of Zimbabwe like their history. What's wrong with that?
But under when given the context in which these comments were made,
context have changed. We've moved on. That's why the general saluted MDC MPs in Parliament. We've moved on. Why do we want to be frozen in history? There were certain things which obtained at that particular time, and they are no longer obtaining. We found each other as Zimbabweans. Are we not going to be allowed to find each other as Zimbabweans? Please. Even if we may have been pointing fingers at each other, countries make mistakes. Countries make false turns. Countries make false starts. Countries, they do things which you can't believe in. That's human fallibility. But at the end of the day, if the countries do find each other and they reconcile, can't we celebrate that? Let's celebrate the fact that Zimbabweans have found a page with each other. Now we get somebody, elections, the ZANU-PF brings a new leader, and because they had the history of the liberation struggle, they are given junket tickets to go to Washington. Ahead of even the opinion, in contrary to the opinion of Zimbabwe, the American appearing before an American Congress. They are now wanting to make the American Congress the god of Zimbabwe. And they get infatuated in front of these foreigners and foreign legislators, and they say outrageous things about their own country. Now they are embarrassed, they come back because the population is on a different page. You see, these are mistakes. That's folly, political folly. And we see it as that political folly by idiotic and infantile young people aspiring to be leaders. We war veterans don't behave like that.
My name is Leopold Freelance. There was that popular statement that the army is targeting the people around the president. And now that the operation Restore Legacy is over, do you think the operation achieved what it initially started for?
We have a new president of a man who had been sent into exile, fearing for his life by the G40.
What about the criminals around?
That on its own is a sea change. Do you think it's a small change that Mnangagwa before was a fugitive, now he's President Mnangagwa? That's, can't you see? It's a big change.
Yeah, it is.
Then the other people, the laws of the land are there. And the fact that they ran away from the country, it's an indication that they know what they were doing, and everyone knows the facts. ZimDef is not a creation of the army. ZimDef happened before. So look, Bujganga and all the others, now Zak is doing his job. The judges are there. You know the decisions that are being made at rallies by grace that this one is not guilt, that one is guilt. That offends judges. You know, she had become the judge, the jury. She had become the jury, the executioner, and even the undertaker in one person. Now, the judges must be celebrating. They were there in courts with these people, and that's what the army wanted. Let people get their chance in the courts. They haven't sent anybody to jail themselves. They didn't shoot anybody for their crimes. Remember what was it Rawlings? He took power in a coup one time, and he took all the leaders to the beach in Ghana, in Accra, and shot all of them. You all know what Mengistu did. He took power and made sure everybody was shot. You know, he went through the temple. Our army doesn't do things. Not even a soul is lost. So this is not even an African coup. It's just an intervention to arrest a sexually transmitted coup. A coup by a marriage certificate. We respected a certain man. He was old. He was losing his faculties. His wife was near here, so that he was losing his faculties. She decided to take power, and then the army intervenes and arrests the situation. Nothing to do with that. You are worried. You would have liked an elected president, Grace. You wouldn't have liked. Aren't you happy, even journalists? She was now going to say, I'll give you the stories to write. She used to castigate you every rally. I know that. Yeah. So they've given you, now you are coming even to this building and talking to somebody, you know, in a free manner. You know, it wouldn't have happened if Grace and G40 had taken over power. You know it was not going to happen. Let's celebrate the new season of openness and freedom. That's what I asked you to. And it came courtesy of the guys in the army, and they've withdrawn to their barracks.
Okay, my name is Robert Simtia Tivonai. On the issue of fighting corruption in the country, it seems from what we've seen or read in the media as well, the members that are being picked or arrested are those that are perceived to belong to the G40 faction. Are we likely to see a sitting minister being arrested as well? Because the same guys that are being picked now were protected by the old regime.
I'm not sure about that, but anyway, look, we've talked about free and fair elections. The Zimbabwean constitution is very clear. You are perceived to be innocent until you are proved guilty. So you are already judging those members. You know, that's not fair.
No, I'm saying...
there's a perception, you say, by the public that these people are bad. Let their cases be taken through the normal processes of the constitutional arrangements of the country. It means let the due process take place and they are found guilty. But the biggest, the highest court of this land is the court of public opinion, and public opinion expresses itself through a document called the vote. So the elections are coming in 6 months' time. If the president is perceived to have been a liberal or otherwise with those people, you judge them as the electorate and you kick them out. Then let the president pick them out to be ministers again when we voted them out of power. You understand? So the duty of removing these people from office lies primarily at the election level, because we are a constitutional democracy. So the anxieties, I'm not dismissing what you are saying, but let the public assume its role as the Supreme Court of the land on the election day. All the rocks which you think the president allowed to pass through the net of corruption, you vote them out, they lose in the elections. Then he will have to go out of his way to rescue them from the enthralls of public disapproval. Then we can point a finger at you. But no, he hasn't, because they are all elected.
On a lighter note, where is your friend Jonathan?
The president is the one who said he is my friend. You know? What I know is for sure I took his job in the party. I was given his job. I saw some pictures of him at the beach in Kenya. That's what I'm told. You know, he sneaked out. He may have sneaked out of the country. Definitely sneaked out. He's sure alive. And his pictures, the latest we see. So you're a journalist. Ask your counterparts in Kenya whether those pictures are authentic. But I don't miss him. I don't miss him. You know, I just want to emphasize one thing. We are the first ever guerrilla movement in history which accepted to get into power by elections in 1980, in 1979. Many guerrilla movements, they win the trust of the people through the military engagement. They say that is justification for our hold on to power. Mao did that. Ho Chi Minh did that in Vietnam. Fidel Castro did that. Then Boumediene did that in Algeria. Samora Machel did that. Many did that. But we in Zimbabwe decided to go the way of the democratic election. Can't you just give us kudos that we are a guerrilla movement which came into power through democratic means? So we cherish democracy. You know, you heard what the president says. The president said, we work on the premise that ZANU-PF has no divine right to rule. I quote him from Oswald. He said that, you understand, the arena of people's trust is a contested one. So ZANU-PF will have to go and contest for the favor of the people so that we can end their eggs. That's a very guerrilla tradition, this only Zimbabwean guerrilla tradition. Please give us credit. I'm only saying, hate us for many other things, but praise for us for what we have done good. And we are very democratic. We are very democratic by tradition, by history, and by practice.
Yes, Conrad?
Okay, my name is Lovejoy from 26 Richard. This is on a different note though. So we are going into Unity Day, and there is a cross-section of all veterans who are saying the appointment of Comrade Robert Mchinguri as the ZANU-PF National Chairperson breaches the Unity Accord. What's your take on that?
You see, one is going to try to respect the Unity Accord as much as possible, but it's an evolving political landscape. Who would have thought, considering some of the animosities we've had in the past, that the two top people in the Zimbabwe National Army are all ex-ZIP? Do you realize? General P.V. Sibanda, ex-ZIP, is the commander, CDF. General Moyo, Air Marshal Moyo, is the commander of the Air Force of Zimbabwe. Two of them, the duet, they are all from ex-ZIP. And for us who fought in that war, it means nothing. They are just competent soldiers, ex-comrades, who just have been given their jobs because they merit to be their jobs. I mean, maybe if it had happened in 1980, soon after or even it happened after the problems in Matebelele, that would have been unthinkable. So, look, there is an evolving political landscape. For every X which you may see negative, there may be 3 axes which are positive. Do you understand? Maybe I wanted to highlight to you that I felt Zimbabwe had come of age this morning when I saw that the 2 top commanders of our army, both of them come from ZIPRA. It means we've come of age. It means it doesn't matter anymore. Can't we celebrate that rather than just pick out the issue of a national chairperson? You see, we're coming together.
But then, doesn't this now bring sort of disorder, especially between the Hoves, between you and maybe another coterie of Hoves?
You know, everybody is entitled to a democratic country. Everybody is entitled to an opinion, and that's why we're a democratic space. I respect their opinions. I may not subscribe to them, but I respect their opinions. But I don't subscribe to them. But I celebrate that which makes Zimbabwe the oneness of Zimbabweans. And I told you of this thrilling experience where the 2 top commanders of both wings of the army come from ZIPRA tradition. And there's been no bending of the eyes by nobody. Maybe you didn't notice it. Did you notice it? You see, it means the country is moving forward. It means we are coming one. I think the people in Matebele will be, and not the people with the ZIPRA background, they must be thrilled with that. They are just being treated as other war veterans, guerrillas who fought heroically for their country and proved to be competent national soldiers in the last 37 years. It's a beauty. Let's celebrate that.
Last question.
Okay, Mr. Mtambo, you are the special advisor to the president. Any idea about the vice president that are going to pick the individuals that are going to deputize His Excellency?
I'm only an advisor. I don't think for him. If I have got any opinion about who should be vice president, I can profit quietly.
Should we look forward to another general deputizing him?
I don't, that's his prerogative, not general, another Zimbabwe.
Former army general.
No, I don't see army general. I just see Zimbabweans who can be eligible for office. I said Shongwani became a minister when he was a journalist. Nobody made any issue out of it. Because before he's a journalist, he's a Zimbabwean. Before they are generals, they are Zimbabweans. Why would you want, can you imagine you give birth to your son, he becomes an army man. Then one day he decides that I want to become a president of a country. Then the whole country starts saying, why is your son in was it? Would you love that? Would you like that? Let's take it very personal. These are just another mothers and fathers, boys or girls. They get new jobs in a country where they're entitled to. And then you want to say they shouldn't get those jobs. The mother and child, the father of that person will be angry with you. Let's just look at them as ordinary Zimbabweans who can express their talents, their capabilities in any way which the Constitution provides for. That's what we want. That has been the message of my message throughout this press conference. Let's just see them as other Zimbabweans. Unless if it had been done extra constitutional. But to stigmatize somebody, kuti haachaiti chakati hanzi anodriva bhasikoro saka hafana kukwira ndege. Zvakanaka izvozvo. Azowanawo mari yechikwira ndege. Zvodzi aiwa ndiwe bhasikoro. No, it's not right. Let Zimbabweans express themselves in their full capabilities across all the opportunities which this beautiful land offers. That's what I'm saying.
But it's the same as saying an 93-year-old person is not able to run the country.
But he wasn't able to run the country. Everybody knew that he was sleeping every. I mean, this is a matter of public record. He lived in the plane. He was flying every other. He literally, he was halfway to heaven. So he decided to live on the plane every time. He was flying. Air Zimbabwe was his home. So, look, can't you accept that he was too old to run a country? When your wife, who is not elected, decides to become the president of the country and exercise executive powers, she sees a vacuum. She saw a vacuum. She probably saw a vacuum during the day and she saw a vacuum during the night, and she felt it would be filled.
These and other stories, visit our website www.26richard.com. follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.